We're now talking about the stack wars. Whose stack will win? Some of the players. IBM. We all know IBM. Historically, the most integrated IT player. One of the big moves in the industry was Hewlett-Packard acquiring EDS to create the same kind of services and outsourcing capability that IBM has. Today, we're going to talk about a third stack that we're trying to form between VMware, Cisco, and EMC. It's known as the VCE Coalition, built around virtual computing. Our goal is to create a different stack that competes and compares favorably with IBM and HP. And of course, if you watch the industry, you're aware that Oracle has bought Sun, which creates the potential for a fourth stack. Now, our challenge as EMC with our partners at VMware and Cisco is learn how to behave more like one company and less like three companies. And this is a work in progress. But going forward, all of you will need to make choices about which stacks you want to use. More value will come from staying in the stack. There will be better integration. There will be easier support. You may get a better deal. But the biggest decision now is not going forward, which technology do you like, but which stack do you endorse? And we want to compete for this. And we're in the midst of a transition now from IT delivering products and technologies to IT delivering a service catalog with no visibility to the underlying technology. The same thing is happening outside of IT. We see billions and billions of dollars being spent on new business models around service providers to create service catalogs for you. Why own the technology when you can rent the technology? Why build the service when you can simply resell the service internally? So we see the new model of IT as being two service catalogs, one that you deliver to your users and one that you get from your vendors and service providers. Warning, if you do not adopt the service provider model within your enterprise, users have this unique ability of going around and finding services that they want. In the United States, Amazon is a very popular service with users. It is not so popular with enterprise IT. We consider that a forebit bearer, a future indicator of what we'll see more likely in the future as business users demand to consume IT as a service and not wait for products and technologies to be integrated. Next idea, pre-integrated infrastructure. Think of this as a vending machine. You will hear us talk a lot today about this thing called a V-block. A V-block is a cloud in a box. You don't get to choose the server. You don't get to choose the storage. You don't get to choose the network. You don't get to choose the management interface. It is a vending machine. It vends virtual machines that can be used for whatever purpose. The challenge with this is that it is done differently than traditional IT. Traditional IT says pick the best server, pick the best storage, pick the best network, pick the best management, and then spend 6 months making it all work. Whether it comes from us or it comes from other vendors, you will see in this industry a move to pre-packaged, pre-integrated infrastructure. Specifically, most of these solutions will use a pooled resource model. Everything is shared. They will compete very favorably in terms of the cost to provide the service. Again, the service provider thinking, both in terms of capital expense, but very dramatically in terms of operational expense. It will come in one color, black. You will not have the choices you used to have around all of the technology, built and designed and integrated to run as a unit. On these platforms, you will find management and security models that are completely different from traditional physical IT. They are built around the virtual world. They provide much greater control over resources and far more security, but presume a fully virtualized environment. And the interesting part is that we can show a good case that these infrastructures work not only for classical fixed infrastructure, but are very adept at variable use cases as well. And this ability to move back and forth, we think will be very important going forward. What makes enterprise IT different than most kinds of computing is that the enterprise IT group must be in control. So what you're starting to see is control planes show up more and more between enterprise IT and these compatible service providers that let the enterprise IT group be in control of key aspects, moving information back and forth, composing application images and moving them over, monitoring service delivery, monitoring resource utilization, monitoring that availability and recoverability are in place, security and compliance events, auditing. All of these are aspects of control that the enterprise needs in the classical data center and will demand from their service providers. Put differently, unless enterprise IT can control the cloud, there will be no cloud.